Unaware his wife secretly paid his mother's $1 million debt, husband humiliated her after his mother gifted her divorce papers. What she did next ruined them. He didn't just stay quiet while his mother handed his wife divorce papers. He went further. He stood beside his mistress in his mother's living room and humiliated the very woman who had secretly saved his family from losing everything. That day, Claire Hayes held a decorated envelope in her shaking hands. Inside, divorce papers. Across from her, Helen, the 58-year-old mother-in-law whose $1 million debt Claire had quietly paid off, smiled like she was handing over a birthday card. Adam, Claire's husband, didn't defend her. He joined the attack. In front of Helen, Brianna, and a few relatives, he raised his voice and called Claire manipulative, secretive, and controlling. "You're always hiding things," he shouted. "You think you're better than my family. You don't belong with us." Brianna stood next to him, one hand on his arm, pretending to calm him. "Just tell her the truth, Adam. Be strong," she whispered, while enjoying every second. Helen watched with satisfaction, like a puppet master whose strings were finally pulling the show together. They thought they knew the truth. Adam didn't know. Brianna didn't know. And Helen, who had begged for Claire's help, chose to bury the fact that Claire had signed a secret contract to pay her $1 million debt, using her own savings and financial skill to protect the very people tearing her apart. None of them knew she had kept records, transfers, messages, logs, and even recordings. They thought they were breaking her. They didn't realize they were handing her every reason she needed to ruin them. Dear viewers, thank you for being here. If you watch without subscribing, it's like letting Claire's pain disappear without justice. When you click that button, you stand with every loyal heart that was betrayed. Please subscribe now and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. The kitchen erupted with the sharp crack of a ceramic plate hitting the counter. Claire's hands had slipped again. Her breath shook as she caught it right before it shattered. The sudden noise was loud enough to pull anyone's attention, but no one reacted. Not Adam, not his mother, not the house that relied on her. It was a moment that revealed everything. Claire was the only one holding everything together. And no one even noticed when she trembled. Claire Bennett, 32 years old, had been the quiet backbone of this family for 7 long years. To the outside world, she looked like the calm, organized wife who kept her life in perfect order. But underneath, she carried layers of responsibility that began long before she ever met Adam Hayes, her 34-year-old husband. Her story didn't start with luxury or ease. It began in a small, crowded home where bills piled faster than hope. Her father, Michael Bennett, a construction worker who aged too fast, had taught her something she never forgot. Claire, barely 14, sits at a worn kitchen table with a stack of overdue notices. Her father leans over her shoulder. "Learn these numbers, sweetheart. Understand them, because one day, the people you love might depend on you to save them from them." He wasn't wrong. Michael died only 4 years later, leaving nothing but debts and a small savings book that Claire guarded like a sacred object. She inherited responsibility, not money. But responsibility shaped her into a woman who could carry far more weight than anyone realized. That was the Claire who married Adam, a woman built from quiet resilience. In the present, Claire moved around the dining room, placing plates and refilling glasses, making sure everyone had what they needed before she even sat down. She managed all the household finances because Adam struggled with them. Not because he couldn't, but because he never cared enough to try. He was raised with the belief that someone, usually his mother, would fix the messes he made. Tonight, Adam barely looked up from his phone as Claire served dinner. His phone lay face down, but every few seconds it vibrated insistently. Claire's eyes caught the name lighting the screen, Brianna. She had heard the name before. Adam said Brianna was just an old friend from college. The explanation should have been harmless, but something about the tone he used had always felt too defensive, too prepared. As Claire set a plate before him, Adam quickly slid the phone under his napkin, not meeting her eyes. A small sting hit her chest, quick, sharp, and familiar. Across the table sat Helen Hayes, Adam's 58-year-old mother, a sharp-tongued woman whose presence filled every space with judgment. Helen had never approved of Claire fully, but she hid it under sweetened criticism. Tonight, she chose sweetness. You know, Helen said with a soft smile, Brianna was always so thoughtful with Adam, always knew how to take care of him. Some women just fit better. The words were coated in honey, but they carried poison. Claire felt the air tighten. There it was again, that subtle, constant comparison. Helen almost never complimented Claire. But Brianna? That woman could do no wrong. Claire forced a small smile. I'm sure she was a good friend. Helen lifted a brow. Oh, she still is. Claire stored the comment quietly. She always stored things quietly. Dinner pushed on with shallow conversation. The room felt familiar yet foreign, like Claire was present but fading. She watched Adam laugh at a message on his phone. He thought he hid it, but she saw everything. And then it happened. As Claire walked past the hallway toward the laundry room, she heard Helen's voice, sharp, lowered, urgent, the tone a person uses when speaking to someone they trust. Claire froze. The door was cracked open. Helen whispered into her phone, Don't worry, he'll choose you eventually. Claire's heart stopped. Choose who? Her mind raced. Brianna. Was that who Helen was talking to? Or someone else? Why would Adam need to choose? Her throat tightened, but she kept herself silent. Listening became her shield. Helen continued softly. She's slipping already. Just give it time. Claire's hand pressed against her chest. She had no idea whether the conversation was about her marriage, her place in the family, or something bigger. But she knew one thing. Something was moving beneath the surface. Planned, whispered, coordinated. And Claire had just heard the first crack in the truth. As she stepped away from the door, a single thought formed. If secrets were being kept from her, what else was hidden? She didn't yet know that tomorrow, a secret worth $1 million would come knocking. The knock on the door wasn't gentle. It was frantic, sharp, urgent. It cracked through the silence of early morning like a warning. Claire jerked awake, heart pounding, unsure if the noise was part of a dream or her reality. But when the knock came again, louder, desperate, she knew someone needed something from her. And whenever someone in Adam's family needed help, it somehow always fell on her shoulders. She opened the door to find Helen, her mother-in-law, standing there pale and shaking. The woman who normally carried herself like a queen now looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her hair was uncombed, her clothes wrinkled. Her hands gripping her purse so tightly her knuckles turned white. Claire, Helen whispered, breathless, please, I need to talk to you. Alone. Her tone wasn't demanding this time. It was terrified. Claire felt a chill sweep her spine. Helen stepped inside without waiting for an invitation, glancing anxiously down the street as if someone might be following her. She closed the door with trembling hands. Are you okay? Claire asked softly. No, Helen whispered. No, nothing is okay. She handed Claire a stack of papers. Claire recognized the logo immediately, a private lending firm known for aggressive collection. Her stomach tightened before she even read the numbers. $1 million. Due immediately. Final notice. Claire's breath disappeared. How long have you known about this? She asked. Helen sank onto the couch, covering her face. Months, maybe a year. I kept thinking the investment would turn around, that I would fix it before anyone found out. But they came to my door yesterday. They threatened to take my house. The words poured out in shaking waves. I made a deal with the wrong people. I thought I could handle it. I thought Adam would see me as strong, not stupid. Claire understood more than Helen realized. Her father sitting at the table, explaining to a young Claire that shame makes people hide the truth. Most debts, he said, destroy families because people try to pretend they don't exist. Claire's heart softened, even though fear twisted inside her. Why didn't you tell Adam? She asked gently. Helen looked up, eyes wild. He would have blamed me. He trusts me, Claire. I can't let him see me fail. There it was again. Adam's dependence, his blind loyalty to his mother, the very thing that created every crack in Claire's marriage. Then Helen leaned forward, grabbing Claire's hand with cold fingers. You're good with money, she whispered. You're responsible. You know how to fix things. I need you to help me. Please don't tell Adam. Claire stiffened. She had carried responsibilities her entire life. but $1 million responsibility. That wasn't a burden, it was an avalanche. Helen went on, desperation rising in her voice. If Adam finds out, he'll fall apart. You know how fragile he gets? You know he can't handle pressure. But you're strong enough to do something. Claire swallowed, remembering all the times Adam had panicked over simple bills, all the emotional labor she had carried to keep their life running smoothly. And she remembered something else, the way Helen whispered last night, "Don't worry, he'll choose you eventually." If Helen was lying then, was she lying now? Or was this fear real? Claire opened her mouth to respond, but a car pulled into Helen's driveway, its headlights sweeping across the curtains. Helen tensed. Claire's curiosity prickled. She excused herself and stepped outside as Helen gathered her papers. Brianna stepped out of the car, beautiful, confident, too comfortable walking up to Helen's home at this hour. "Morning," Brianna said with a bright smile, fake and sharp as glass. Claire forced a polite nod. "You're up early," Brianna shrugged. Helen needed help with groceries, but she held no bags, no keys, just her purse and a smirk. Claire caught the look in Brianna's eyes. A look that said, "I already know the things you don't." Helen appeared behind Claire quickly, voice a little too cheerful. Yes, Brianna's always helping me." Claire knew it was a lie. The early morning, the timing, the secrecy. This wasn't about groceries, it was something deeper, something planned. Claire drove Helen to the lending office later that day, her mind spinning. In the quiet waiting room, Helen leaned over. "You're not going to tell Adam, right?" Claire hesitated. Helen whispered sharply, "If he finds out, he'll leave me." Those words locked Claire's decision. Her trauma, her father's warnings, her own loyalty. They pushed her into the seat she didn't choose. She signed the contract, took on the full debt, saved Helen from ruin. As Claire stood up, she turned toward the door. And that's when she saw Helen, standing far back, watching her, her expression calm, too calm, cold even, not relief, not gratitude, something else, something dangerous. As they walked out, Claire sensed it, a shift so subtle it felt like a shadow passing. She had just saved the family, but tomorrow the first crack in Adam's loyalty would begin to show. The shouting hit Claire before she even stepped inside the house. Adam's voice, sharp, angry, and nothing like the gentle man she married, echoed down the hallway as if he was fighting with ghosts. "Just stop! Stop telling me what to think!" Claire froze with her hand on the doorknob. Her first thought was that he was on the phone with someone from work. But when she pushed the door open, she found Adam in the living room, pacing back and forth with his phone to his ear, jaw tight, frustration boiling off him like steam. He didn't notice her. "Look, I get it," he snapped. "You're right. She does hide things. She does act like she's above us." Claire's stomach twisted. She stepped closer, saying softly, "Adam, who are you talking to?" Adam jumped, startled. He ended the call immediately, shoving the phone deep into his pocket. "Were you listening?" he asked sharply. His tone cut her. "No," Claire said calmly. "I just walked in." Adam scoffed. "Sure, you're always just walking in. Always in the middle of things that don't involve you." The cruelty was new, cold, sudden, but strangely familiar, because it sounded exactly like something Helen would say. Or Brianna. Claire took a deep breath. "Adam, what's going on? You've been different lately." He turned away, arms crossed. "You're imagining things." But it wasn't her imagination. It was the start of something she couldn't yet see, but could feel tightening around her like a rope pulled from both ends. As Adam walked to the kitchen, Claire followed slowly. Her mind replayed the decision she made yesterday, to save Helen, to carry that crushing $1 million debt in silence. She didn't expect gratitude, but she didn't expect this. "Did your mother say something?" she asked. Adam turned suddenly, eyes narrowed. "Why do you always blame my mother? Why do you always act like you're better than her? Better than everyone?" Claire blinked. "I never said that." "Yes, you do," he insisted. "You just do it quietly, with your looks, with your tone." It hit her then. This wasn't Adam's language. This was borrowed speech. words he didn't own but repeated. She could almost hear the voices behind them. Helen. She thinks she's above our family. Brianna. She likes controlling everything. Helen. Adam, you need to open your eyes. They were feeding him poison in small doses, each word like a drip in a cracked glass. Claire exhaled slowly, trying not to cry. I've never tried to control you, Adam. Adam shrugged, turning his back. Then why do you hide things? Claire froze. There it was. Helen had twisted her secret into guilt, a secret Claire carried to protect all of them. She whispered, I didn't hide anything to hurt you. Adam didn't even look at her. You make everything complicated. Her heart stung. Another borrowed phrase. And then her phone buzzed. She reached for it, but Adam snatched it first. Who's texting you? Adam. Give it back. He held the phone above his head like a child. Why? What secret are you hiding now? Claire didn't want to fight. She'd spent years avoiding conflict, smoothing edges, keeping peace. But the erosion had begun, and she was standing on the edge of the cliff. Finally, Adam shoved the phone into her hands and stormed off to the bedroom, slamming the door. Claire didn't move, didn't breathe. She stood in the middle of the living room, surrounded by the life she built, realizing for the first time that she was no longer inside this marriage. She was outside of it, watching it fall apart. She walked to the hallway mirror and stared at her reflection. Her eyes looked tired, older than her 32 years. The Claire in the mirror wasn't the girl her father trained to stay strong. She was someone losing pieces of herself to people who didn't even know her value. When the house fell quiet again, she checked Adam's abandoned phone on the counter. He must have forgotten it while storming off. The screen lit up. A new notification appeared from Brianna. You did great today. Some people don't deserve you. Below it, Claire saw the next part. A heart emoji. Before Claire could process the blow, another notification popped up. Helen liked Brianna's comment. Two women, linked, strategic, aligned. Her heart dropped as she realized the truth. They were working together. The erosion wasn't natural. It was engineered. Claire's hand trembled as she put down the phone. And for the first time, a cold, unfamiliar thought entered her mind. If this is what they think of her now, what are they planning next? Tomorrow, she would learn the answer, and it would come in the form of a decorated envelope she never expected to see. The doorbell didn't ring. It roared. The sound blasted through the house with such force that Claire dropped the laundry basket she was carrying, clothes spilling across the hallway floor. Her heart jumped, racing in her chest. Nobody visited this early. Nobody rang the bell like that unless something urgent or dangerous waited on the other side. She wiped her hands on her jeans, steadied her breath, and opened the door. Helen stood there. Perfect hair, perfect smile, perfect cruelty hidden behind makeup. But this time she wasn't alone. Brianna was right beside her, arms crossed, eyes sparkling with something that didn't match the polite smile on her face. She looked ready for a show. Claire's stomach clenched. Good morning. Claire, Helen said sweetly, her voice full of sugar. We have something for you. Claire didn't miss the word we. Before Claire could respond, Helen stepped inside, Brianna following like a shadow. Adam appeared behind Claire, rubbing his eyes as if he had just woken from the best sleep of his life. His expression froze when he saw his mother, and then Brianna. Helen? Brianna? What's going on? Claire asked. Her voice was calm, careful, but inside something twisted, preparing for pain. Helen didn't answer. Instead, she held out a decorated envelope, pink floral patterns, gold trim, like it was an invitation to a party. But Claire already felt the poison inside it. Open it, Helen said. Her tone was so soft, so gentle, it made the moment feel even colder. Claire's fingers shook as she slid them under the seal. The paper inside was thick, heavy, official. She unfolded it slowly, her eyes scanning the first line. Notice of petition for dissolution of marriage. The world went silent. Her vision blurred for a second, as if her brain refused to understand what her eyes were reading. She looked up. Helen was smiling. Not kindly, not lovingly, not motherly, but triumphantly. Right behind her, Brianna watched the moment like a spectator at a boxing match. Her eyebrows lifted in fake shock. "Oh my gosh," Brianna whispered, a hand covering her mouth. We had no idea she'd take it this badly." Claire's throat tightened. She looked at Adam, her husband, the man she stood beside for 7 years. He wouldn't meet her eyes. "Adam," she whispered, "what is this?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "Mom thought, we talked about it. Maybe it's time to accept we're not good together." Brianna stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on Adam's arm, as if claiming him. "You're doing the right thing," she said softly, loud enough for Claire to hear. Claire felt something inside her body break so quietly it almost made no sound. Helen clasped her hands together. "This is for the best, Claire. You've always been different from us. Dividing the family, keeping secrets." The words struck deep. Claire's head lowered. Her hair fell slightly forward, hiding her face. For a moment she didn't speak, didn't move. She only breathed, slow, steady, deliberate. "Claire?" Adam asked weakly, unsure. She lifted her head. Tears didn't fall. She didn't scream. She didn't break. But her voice did tremble. "You're giving me divorce papers?" Claire asked quietly. "After everything I've done for this family?" Helen scoffed. "And what exactly have you done?" The question sliced through the air. These people, this family, really didn't know. Didn't know the nights she stayed up fixing Adam's financial mistakes. Didn't know the countless lies she swallowed to keep peace. Didn't know the $1 million contract she signed to save Helen from losing everything. They didn't know, because she protected them. Claire stepped closer, her eyes locked on Helen's. "You have no idea what I've done for this family." For the first time that morning, Helen's expression cracked. Just a flicker, a tiny tightening around the eyes. Fear. Real fear, because she knew Claire wasn't lying. Suddenly, Helen's voice wasn't so confident. "Claire, what are you suggesting?" But Claire didn't answer. She simply folded the papers back into the envelope and held them carefully, almost gently. Inside, her heart was burning. Outside, she looked perfectly still. Behind Helen, Brianna's smirk faltered. Just a little, because even she could feel it. The energy in the room shifting. Something dangerous had awakened in Claire. Something quiet, something controlled, something they never expected. Claire turned toward Adam slowly, and the look she gave him made him step back without even realizing it. She whispered, almost too softly to hear, "You have no idea what this will cost you." The argument didn't begin with raised voices. It began with Adam yanking Claire's arm the moment she entered Helen's living room. "Don't walk away from me," he shouted. The sudden grip, the sudden heat in his voice, felt like a slap. Helen and Brianna stood nearby, pretending to intervene but doing absolutely nothing. It felt like everyone had been waiting for Claire to break so they could call it her fault. Claire pulled her arm free, steady but shaking inside. "Let go of me, Adam." But Adam was already on fire, a fire fueled by whispers that weren't his own. "You want to make me look like the bad guy?" he barked. "Then let's talk in front of everyone." He motioned at Helen and Brianna. Both stepped forward like they had front row seats. Brianna placed a soft hand on his arm, the touch intimate and practiced. Her voice was honey-coated poison. "Just tell her the truth, Adam," she whispered. "Be strong." Claire's eyes narrowed. Brianna's influence was no longer hiding in shadows. She was standing in daylight, proud of her role. Helen folded her arms, chin raised like a judge prepared to deliver a sentence. Claire inhaled slowly. "What truth, Adam?" Adam didn't hesitate. He stepped closer, towering over her, like he was finally brave, with his mother and mistress beside him. "You manipulate me," he snapped. "You hide things from me. You twist everything to make yourself look perfect." Claire blinked. The words weren't his. They were Helen's and Brianna's. She recognized the tone, the rhythm, the attacks. "You're always secretive," Adam continued. "Why do you think I don't trust you? You make everything complicated. You think you're better than my family." Every sentence stabbed her, not because they were true, but because he believed them. Claire steadied her voice. "Adam, when have I ever acted like I was better than anyone?" He laughed, cruel, loud, forced. You don't have to say it. You show it every day. Helen smiled slightly, pleased. Brianna leaned into him a little, offering emotional support that wasn't hers to give. Claire watched the scene unfold, her heart cracking, but her mind growing sharper. The betrayal wasn't new, but the performance, that was new. She stepped back, needing air. So this is what you think of me? Adam pointed a finger at her like she was a criminal. I think you're hiding something, and I'm tired of being lied to. Claire's breath caught. He had no idea about the $1 million she took on for his mother. No idea about the nights she cried alone, worrying about the debt. No idea she was saving them while they destroyed her. She noticed movement on the coffee table. Adam's phone lighting up. Her gaze snapped to it. A new message. Brianna, I'm proud of you. You're finally standing up to her. Her stomach twisted. Not only were they involved emotionally, they were communicating in real time while she stood right there being humiliated by her own husband. Helen stepped forward, voice dripping with satisfaction. See, Claire? This is why we can't trust you. Even now you're making everything dramatic. Claire didn't respond. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. Instead, she looked at Adam one last time. The man she once believed she could build a life with. He wouldn't meet her eyes. Brianna smiled at Claire like she had won. Claire felt something inside her shut down. Not pain, not anger, not grief. Something colder, quieter, stronger. She straightened her posture, lifted her chin, and in the calmest voice she had spoken in days, she said, I hope you remember this moment. Adam frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Claire walked toward the door, her steps silent but powerful. Brianna whispered to Adam, let her go. She's trying to guilt you. But Claire wasn't trying anything. She was becoming something they hadn't calculated. Someone who felt nothing anymore. Because sometimes emptiness wasn't weakness. Sometimes emptiness was the beginning of power. Claire opened the door without turning back, and Helen exhaled sharply. Because for the first time, she saw something in Claire's eyes that terrified her. No tears, no fear, no emotional attachment left. Foreshadowing for Scene 6. As Claire walked into the sunlight, one thought settled like steel in her mind. If they wanted to tear her life apart, they should have checked what she was capable of when she finally stopped caring. The metal door slammed shut behind Claire with a violent echo. Not gentle, not careful, violent. The force surprised even her. Her hands were trembling, not from fear, but from something colder, something sharper. Something that had finally awakened after years of holding everything together for people who wanted her destroyed. The storage unit was cold, dimly lit by a single flickering bulb. Dust floated through the air like forgotten memories. This wasn't just a random space. This was Claire's hidden sanctuary, the place her father told her to build years ago. Always keep a place where the truth can live, he had said. People will lie, but numbers never will. She took a breath, letting the silence wrap around her. In this room, she wasn't Adam's wife. She wasn't Helen's target. She wasn't Brianna's obstacle. Here, she was Michael Bennett's daughter, and that meant she was no one's victim. Claire opened the large metal trunk at the back of the room. Inside were neatly labeled folders, envelopes, notebooks, and a small black device her father had given her on her 18th birthday, a voice recorder. Always get proof, he said. Not everyone deserves the truth, but everyone deserves consequences. She held the device in her hand, its weight familiar, grounding. Her reflection flickered on its surface, the reflection of a woman who had been brought to her knees but was now rising. Claire sat at the metal table and opened the first binder, financial logs. Her handwriting covered every page, documenting each bill she had managed, each debt she paid, each time she saved Adam or Helen from another disaster Adam never even knew existed. She could almost hear her father's voice. Money tells stories people try to hide. She turned another page. Contracts, receipts, bank transfers, every dollar she had used to save Helen, including the $1 million debt. But then something caught her eye. Her throat tightened. A folder inside the drawer she had never opened before, labeled simply H and B. Claire felt a chill. She opened it slowly, Inside were printed messages, screenshots Helen had accidentally backed up to the family shared drive months earlier. Messages between her and Brianna. The first line felt like a punch. Helen, keep reminding him he deserves better. Brianna, don't worry, I'll push him. Helen, she's too controlling. He needs someone softer, someone like you. Brianna, we'll push the breakup when the time is right. Claire's breath hitched. This wasn't a sudden betrayal. This wasn't emotional confusion. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a long-term plan, a planned destruction. Helen and Brianna had been conditioning Adam for months. Every insult he threw at Claire, every sharp word, every suspicion, none of it came from him. He had been guided, manipulated, used. Claire swallowed hard, anger burning a clean line through her chest. Not explosive anger, not uncontrolled, but precise anger, the kind that made a person dangerous. She gathered the printed pages into a neat stack. Evidence. Every piece would serve a purpose later. As she packed the documents into her briefcase, a white envelope slid out from the bottom of the storage trunk. Her name wasn't on it. It was addressed to Helen. Confused, Claire opened it. Inside was a financial document, Helen's loan contract. Only, it wasn't the same one Claire signed. Her breath froze. The signature at the bottom, the one marked Helen Hayes, was not Helen's handwriting. It was a forgery, but not just any forgery. The handwriting was familiar. Claire had seen it 1,000 times, in grocery lists, notes on the fridge, birthday cards. It was Adam's handwriting. Her fingers tightened around the paper as the truth slammed into her like a wave. Adam hadn't been a confused husband caught between loyalties. He had known about the loan. He had signed the forged papers. He had been involved from the beginning. Claire's heartbeat thundered in her ears. Everyone had betrayed her. Not just Helen, not just Brianna, but Adam himself. Claire closed the folder, her eyes cold, calm, and unrecognizable. She whispered into the empty room, "Now I know everything." In the faint hum of the storage lights, one quiet certainty began forming. If the truth was her weapon, then tomorrow she would start sharpening it. Claire's hand shook so violently she nearly dropped the phone. Not from fear, not from heartbreak, but from a rage so deep it made her bones vibrate. She stared at the cross-reference spreadsheet open on her laptop. Timestamps from her ledger matched with Adam's phone logs, matched with Helen's messages. She had spent hours aligning them, line by line, month by month, year by year. And now the truth hit her like a bomb. Brianna was not a recent mistress. She was the beginning of the betrayal. Claire's breath left her chest in a single harsh exhale. This wasn't a new affair. This wasn't a weak moment. This wasn't an accident. This was a long-term sabotage, orchestrated by Helen and carried out by Brianna. Claire leaned back in her seat, closing her eyes as memory after memory replayed. Moments she once ignored, now sharpened by truth. Claire remembers walking into the living room, newly married, still learning how to be a wife, still hopeful. Adam laughed at his phone, not at her. "Who are you texting?" she asked playfully. "Just an old friend," he said. "Brianna." Claire remembered the name but not the weight. Later that summer, Helen hosted a small family BBQ. Brianna showed up, uninvited, but Helen hugged her tighter than she hugged Claire. "Oh, sweetheart," Helen said to Brianna. "Adam missed you." Everyone treated Brianna like she was the real partner. Claire laughed it off back then. Now she saw the setup. Claire remembered sitting on the bathroom floor, pregnancy test in hand, tears of disappointment in her eyes when it came back negative. She walked into the bedroom quietly and found Adam deleting messages. She saw one line before it vanished. "Brianna, don't get her pregnant. That'll trap you." Claire had swallowed her confusion, told herself she misread it, told herself Adam loved her. Now she felt the sting in full, the cruelest flashback of all. Claire remembered Helen standing in her kitchen, begging for help, begging her to keep the $1 million debt quiet. But now she found messages dated weeks before that day. Helen, "I'll tell her soon. She'll pay it. She always does." Brianna, "Good. Get her tired. Easier to push her out when she's weak. Helen, once the debt is gone, Adam will finally choose you. Claire stared at those lines for minutes. They planned everything, every tear she cried, every sacrifice she made, every humiliation she endured. None of it was random. Claire parked her car outside a quiet lounge at nightfall, the neon sign flickering above her. She had followed Adam here, not because she wanted to catch him, but because she already knew what she would find. She tightened her grip on her phone. The door to the lounge opened. Adam and Brianna walked in, holding hands like a couple who had been practicing for years. Brianna rested her head on his shoulder, laughing softly. Claire recorded every detail, every step. Inside, she slipped into a dim corner booth, phone hidden in her jacket pocket. The recording app glowed red. Adam and Brianna sat at the bar, carefree, confident, loud. Claire lifted the phone slightly. Brianna, once she signs the divorce papers, your mom said we'll finally be together. She even promised us the house. Claire's heart thudded. Adam, she just needs to go. She never fit with us anyway. Brianna laughed sharply. Then came the line that cracked something inside Claire so cleanly it felt holy. Brianna, after everything she did for your mom, some people are born stupid. Claire didn't flinch, didn't cry, didn't move. She lifted the phone closer. Her voice came out soft, steady, lethal. Thank you, she whispered into the recorder. I needed all of this. Adam and Brianna didn't hear her, but the world would, and she was no longer afraid of what came next. Claire stepped outside into the night air, the recording secure in her hand. A single thought settled over her like steel. Tomorrow, someone else would hear this too. The person she planned to visit next wore a suit, held a license, and never lost in court. The courtroom doors blasted open as Claire walked in, not slowly, not timidly, but with a force that turned heads instantly. She wore a simple black suit, hair pulled back, face calm, but her eyes carried fire. A quiet, controlled fire that came from someone who had been pushed past every limit and survived. Behind her, her attorney, Samuel Price, a sharp, respected divorce lawyer known for never losing a case, followed with a thick binder in hand. His presence was steady, confident, the calm opposite of the storm Claire carried inside her. Across the room sat Adam, Helen, and Brianna. Adam looked smug at first, leaning back like he expected victory. Helen sat upright, lips tight, still clinging to her pride. Brianna flicked her hair, pretending not to care. But when Claire's eyes met theirs, something shifted. For the first time, they looked unsure. Claire took her seat quietly. Samuel placed the binder before him and whispered, "You did everything right. Let the truth talk now." The judge entered, tapping her gavel sharply. "Case, Hayes versus Hayes," she announced. "We will begin with petitioner Claire Hayes." Adam frowned. "Petitioner?" he muttered. "What?" He turned to his attorney. "Did she file before me?" Before the attorney could answer, the judge spoke again. "Mrs. Hayes filed for divorce 3 days ago." Adam's face drained. So did Helen's. Claire didn't even look their way. As Samuel stood, Claire inhaled deeply. She had spent years thinking she was the weak one, the forgiving one, the patient one. But now, sitting in the courtroom she never thought she'd enter, she felt her father's strength in her spine. "Always carry proof," he told her. "And when the world tries to break you, let the truth cut back." Today the truth was sharp. Samuel opened the binder. "Your Honor, we present evidence of long-term manipulation, financial deception, conspiracy, and infidelity." Helen gasped. Brianna stiffened. Adam swallowed hard. The judge nodded. "Proceed." On the screen, Samuel displayed Claire's bank transfer, the contract she signed, the lending firm letter. Judge's eyes widened. "Mrs. Hayes, you paid your mother-in-law's $1 million debt?" Claire nodded. "Yes." All eyes turned to Helen. Her face turned pale. Samuel pressed play. Brianna's voice filled the courtroom. "Once she signs the papers, your mom said we'll finally be together. After everything she did for your mom? Some people are born stupid." There were gasps. Brianna covered her mouth, eyes wide with panic. Adam tried to stand. "Your Honor, this is taken out of Sit down," the judge snapped. Helen looked sick. Screenshots appeared on the projector. Helen, keep reminding him he deserves better. Brianna, we'll push the breakup when the time is right. Helen, she's too controlling. Make him see it. The judge stared at Helen. Did you send these? Helen's voice cracked. I. Her hands trembled. Samuel placed the forged loan paper on the judge's desk. This signature, he said calmly, does not match Helen Hayes' handwriting, but it does match Adam Hayes. Adam's chair scraped loudly as he stood. That's a lie, I didn't. But Samuel held up another document. A birthday card Adam wrote last year. Same loops, same strokes. Helen's mouth fell open. You forged my signature? She whispered at Adam. Broken, stunned. Adam panicked. Mom, I thought you said... Helen suddenly collapsed back into her chair, hands shaking violently. Samuel projected timestamps showing Adam's late-night calls with Brianna, expenses for hotel rooms, deleted messages recovered from backups, photos of the two entering the lounge together. The judge turned to Adam sharply. You engaged in an affair during the marriage? Adam sputtered. It wasn't serious. Brianna grabbed his arm. Don't say that. Their fight began right there. Loud, messy, humiliating. Samuel dropped the final bomb. Your Honor, we also present evidence that Helen transferred weekly payments to Brianna's account for the last 8 months. The judge's jaw tightened. Helen burst into tears. They told me. They said. Brianna said Adam needed someone who supported him. Adam gaped at Brianna. You took money? Brianna folded her arms. You think I did this for free? Chaos erupted at their table, but Claire stayed still, steady, silent. The judge banged her gavel repeatedly. Enough! Silence fell. The judge adjusted her glasses, voice firm, eyes locked on Adam, Helen, and Brianna. Given the overwhelming evidence, everyone in the courtroom leaned forward. As the judge prepared her ruling, Claire felt a quiet certainty settle in her chest. Justice wouldn't just punish them, it would expose them. Scene 9 would show exactly how. The courtroom exploded into noise the second the judge spoke her first words. Given the overwhelming evidence, the room went silent again so fast it felt like the air had been sucked out. Adam's hands began to shake. Helen froze like a statue. Brianna clutched her purse tighter, as if ready to bolt. The judge continued. This court rules in favor of the petitioner, Mrs. Claire Hayes. Helen whimpered. Adam's shoulders collapsed. Brianna's jaw dropped. Claire sat completely still, hands clasped, expression calm. Yet the intensity around her felt like a thunderstorm swirling in slow motion. Mrs. Hayes is awarded the majority of the marital assets, the judge declared. This includes the home, the vehicles, and financial accounts. Adam shot to his feet. Your Honor, please, she's manipulating everything. The judge raised a hand sharply. You forged your mother's signature on a $1 million financial contract, Mr. Hayes. That alone invalidates your credibility. Gasps echoed. Helen covered her face with her hands, shaking uncontrollably. The judge wasn't done. Claire lowered her eyes. She wasn't proud. She wasn't celebrating. She was remembering years of trying to hold a family together that was waiting to tear her apart. Her father's voice whispered in her mind, truth doesn't need to shout, it stands. Claire felt the truth today, standing taller than she ever had. Mr. Hayes, the judge said firmly, you are legally mandated to repay Mrs. Hayes the full $1 million she paid to cover your mother's debt. Adam's knees buckled. $1 million. I can't. That is your responsibility, the judge replied coldly. Not hers. Brianna leaned away from him, disgusted. The judge lifted another document. Regarding Mrs. Helen Hayes, this court recognizes the forged signature on a legally binding financial document. Helen's sobbing intensified. Therefore, Mrs. Hayes, you are charged with fraud, falsifying financial records, and conspiracy. Helen's head snapped up. What? No. Adam told me. He said it would protect us. 2 officers stepped forward. Helen reached for Adam with trembling fingers, but he pulled back instinctively, panicked. "Mom, stop. Don't pull me into this." Her cry echoed painfully as the officers placed her in handcuffs. Outside the courthouse, the media waited like hungry wolves. Reporters shouted, "Claire, were you aware of your husband's affair? Adam, did you forge your mother's signature? Brianna, did you help break this marriage?" The story spread online within minutes. Clips of the hearing, screenshots of messages, videos of Helen crying. The recording of Brianna calling Claire born stupid. Adam's workplace immediately released a public statement. Adam Hayes is terminated effective immediately due to misconduct and ethical violations. His phone buzzed nonstop. Friends unfriended him. Co-workers blocked him. Community pages roasted him. People whispered as he passed, "That's him. Shameful. He ruined his own family." As parking lot chaos grew, Brianna turned on him. "I did not sign up for this," she snapped. Adam grabbed her arm. "Bree, please, just stay until things calm down." She yanked away. "You're broke. You're jobless. Your mom's going to jail. You're being forced to repay $1 million. Why would I stay?" He stared at her, stunned, desperate. "Because you said you loved me." She let out a sharp laugh. "I said what I had to so your mom would stop crying into my phone." Then she walked away. Not once did she look back. From the police car window, Helen cried out Adam's name. "Don't let them take me! Adam! Adam!" But Adam stood frozen. He didn't move. He didn't run. He didn't help. All his alliances had crumbled in one day. Claire walked past the reporters without a single word. She didn't gloat. She didn't smirk. She didn't even glance at the chaos behind her. Silence itself became her power. Her father's phrase played again in her mind. "Dignity is louder than revenge." Later that night, Claire returned to the home the court awarded her. The porch light was off. The street was quiet. But as she reached the door, a shadow moved. Adam stood there, eyes red, face wet, hair a mess. He looked completely destroyed. "Claire," he whispered, voice shaking, "please, I don't have anyone left." Claire froze. Her keys hung in her fingers. For a moment, silence pressed between them like a wall ready to crack. Then Adam took a slow step toward her. "Let me in, please." Behind Adam's shaking voice, behind his broken apology, Claire sensed something darker forming. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the real confrontation. Adam slammed his hand against the doorframe, desperate, breath shaking. "Claire, please," he cried, voice cracking with panic. "You can't leave me like this. I lost everything. My mom, my job, Brianna. Everyone abandoned me. You're the only one I have left." The intensity hit Claire instantly. He looked nothing like the man she once loved. His eyes wild with regret, his clothes wrinkled, his stance unstable. He wasn't here to make things right. He was here because he had nowhere else to fall. Claire stood firm, her back straight, her keys still in her hand. For a moment, she felt a familiar ache in her chest. This was the same man she woke up next to for years. The same man she cooked for. The same man she once believed she would build a family with. But then she remembered the recordings, the messages, the lies, the mockery, the betrayal that started from the beginning of their marriage and never stopped. She exhaled slowly. "Adam," she said softly, "look at yourself." He lifted his head, eyes red and desperate. "You and your mother tried to erase me," Claire continued. Her voice was calm, steady in a way that showed she had already healed past the point of return. "I only erased your lies." Adam's mouth fell open. He stepped forward again. "I can change, Claire. I swear. Just give me another chance." She shook her head gently. "You didn't just betray me," she said. "You let other people shape your voice. Your mother, Brianna, anyone but you. You had every chance to stand beside me. You chose to stand behind them." He froze, breathing hard. Claire reached for the door. "And now," she whispered, "you face life the same way you lived it, with someone else cleaning your mess, or no one at all." Before he could respond, she closed the door. Firm, final. The soft click echoed louder than any shout. Inside her now peaceful home, Claire didn't collapse. She didn't shake. She didn't cry. Instead, she walked straight to the small table near the hallway, where her father's old ledger sat. The same ledger that once held evidence, numbers, and plans. The same ledger that saved her life. She ran her fingers over its cover one last time. Then she placed it inside a box, gently closed the lid, and whispered, "It's over." The next morning, sunlight spilled across her new office building, a modern workspace she purchased with her portion of the settlement. She walked confidently through the glass doors, shoulders relaxed, face bright. Her assistant, a young woman named Elise, greeted her. "Good morning, Mrs. Hayes," Elise said warmly. "Ready for your first official day?" Claire smiled, soft, peaceful, free. More than ready. She walked toward her new desk, sunlight warming her face. The world felt open again, clean, stable. Hers. In the quiet of her new office, Claire reflected as if speaking to her father through memory. "I paid my way into that family," she whispered. "I paid my way out. And now the only debts left are theirs." She closed the box containing the ledger forever.